The science fiction genre is a very wide and expansive one. It's been used for decades and has grown to become a distinct type of movie. The things that are expected as part of this kind of movie have to do with things that are very unusual. The things that occur in a science fiction genre are very unlikely to happen in real life, such as being able to be transported to another world like in The Matrix. Many sci-fi movies also usually occur in places such as space or the future where technology is very advanced, like the real world in the movie we just watched. It includes things like would be found in space, such as aliens. Another example of a sci-fi movie, besides The Matrix, would be Star Trek. It's in space, in a futuristic spaceship, and includes many different alien life forms. In this genre, you can also find many things that might be possible to achieve one day through science and technology. Just like how the movie Man on the Moon became a real-life movie instead of sci-fi when a man actually landed on the moon. And visual effect used in the movie The Matrix to slow down time to be able to see everything as clearly as you possibly could. It's a stylistic way of showing that you're in a constructed reality, that time and space are not the same as us today by living our lives. There is a specific part in the movie where Neo dodges the bullets that are shot at him by an agent, and the way he dodged them was revolutionary and a technological masterpiece that was to be known as bullet time. It's a specific way in which you dodge bullets being shot at you by slowing down time and showing the waves that the bullets make in the air while being shot at you. It's cool because not only is it done in slow motion, but you see the path that the bullets are taking because they leave a trail of rippled air in their wake. This is done by having many different cameras, and each one having a specific moment of time to fire a frame of film. The camera comes up to speed, moves out of speed, and comes off of speed. It utilizes 120 cameras and 2 motion picture cameras that run 150 to 200 and 120 frames per second respectively. There are some bullet times where the camera is full Sonic's one, there's a 360 frames per second. There are people that say that we live in the Matrix, and for all we know, it could be a possibility. They believe that like in the movie, we still haven't been freed. They think that this whole world is just here to satisfy us, that it's nothing but a computer program, that with the help of the red pill, we could finally see the real world. In the movie The Matrix, the world that we are living in now is actually called The Matrix, which is just a computer program, and that everything from the food we eat to the air we breathe isn't actually real. In the movie, there is something called the real world, which is where only a select few can live in, and it's the place where your mind can really be free of the Matrix and all its rules such as gravity. No matter how crazy it sounds, there's a possibility that the real world might exist, that we're being held back by this digital prison we think is an actual world, that maybe one day we will have access to the real world and be able to be free to free our minds. No one can be truly sure what living in the Matrix means, and we might never be sure unless we ever meet Morpheus from the movie. He's the guy who comes to see you and to free your mind. The amount of philosophy in this movie is overabundant, but I've picked 2 to talk about. The first philosophical question being, how do you know whether the things you perceive are real or just an illusion? This was very thought-provoking to me. When you think about it, you realize that maybe the things you think about aren't even real. Maybe everything around you isn't real, and you're living in a dream. Maybe that dream isn't even real. This train of thought can go on forever, but that's what I was thinking about at first. When you're living, how can you know for sure that you're not in a dream at the moment? How can you know that one day you won't wake up and your whole life has been just one crazy dream? It's like in The Matrix. Nobody knows they're in the Matrix until someone tells them. It's like Neo tells the junkie at the beginning. You ever have this feeling when you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming? This leaves you in an endless loop of paranoia. The second question being, what is the ultimate reality? This is a question that anyone can relate to since we're all looking for that perfect reality. Some people believe that we're living inside of it right now. There are others who think that we will one day find it and escape this world. They believe the reality we live in cannot be the only one and that there must be a way to escape it. Just like how in the movie, Neo says he's been searching for Morpheus to show him the ultimate reality because he knows there's more to life than what he's been living through. Whether one person believes that or not is completely up to them, and this is because opinions vary based on the person. Personally, I'm not sure what to think, since there's so many ways to look at it, and all the options are just too overwhelming. I honestly love this movie. I could go on and on forever, but I'll try to keep it short. My favorite thing overall wasn't the fighting, or the set, or even the plot. It was the philosophy that was introduced during the movie. I love this so much, because it made me reflect upon it. By today's standards, that's no small feat, since 99% of movies are so linear that you can predict the end just by looking at the trailer. I'd been yearning for something that would keep me thinking since watching Inception, and this satisfied it. It made me wonder if we really were living in the Matrix, and if there really is a so-called real world where anything, even making 30 feet jumps, is possible. As crazy as that sounds, I wondered if I would ever meet Morpheus and have the chance to choose between the red pill and the blue pill. I'm more into anime than anything else, So I've barely ever watched any sci-fi movies besides one of the Star Wars movies and the new Star Trek, but this movie really made the genre more appealing. I find that it's one of the perfect examples to represent this genre, and if I had to introduce it to someone, I would show this movie. Lastly, I found that bullet time was a cool invention. As an invention, I understand how thoroughly groundbreaking it was for the whole cinema business as a whole, and not only that, but it also looks good as well. The only thing that I just didn't find was that I didn't find it that cool. I found it super cool seeing how they used the camera, sometimes running at hundreds of frames per second to create the effect, but seeing it in action wasn't as astounding to me as it was hyped up to be. Maybe it's become too jaded by the huge special effects of today, but I just wasn't all that amazed. All in all, I now have great respect for the Wachowski brothers since they made such a terrific film. Lastly, I'm sorry to inform you guys, this will be my last video review. Thanks for watching them all, and if you'll excuse me, I'm going to watch the second two films in the series.